Number 6 on our list of the top 10 games in Hillsboro Hops history occurred on September 13th, 2015, as the Hops clinched their second consecutive Northwest League championship. Our guest is Shelley Duncan, who was the manager of that team after playing in the big leagues with the Yankees and the Indians and the Rays. And Shelley, how are you?
I'm doing outstanding, Rich.
Yeah, it's always good to see you. It's been a little while. Carlos Hernandez started that game for you. He was the Northwest League Pitcher of the Year. And there were times that year when he was lights out. He wasn't in that game. He didn't have his best stuff. I think he went to his off-speed stuff, like in about the third inning, if I recall correctly, kind of grinded his way through 5 2/3. What do you remember about him that game?
I remember specifically the thing I think you're nailing right on the nose was he had command issues early on, and a lot of it was he just wasn't finishing pitches. His breaking ball, he wasn't really getting on top of it. He was leaving a lot up in the zone, his fastball up in the zone. But he did end up getting a feel. I remember Dougie making a quick adjustment with and he went out there and he grinded out 5+ innings. And, you know, the thing that really gave him some comfort and gave us some comfort in the dugout was that big 4 spot we put up in the second inning. And, you know, it just allowed him to go out there and do his thing. And he worked his way through everything, and he ended up putting up a great outing.
Yeah, he did. And then Cameron Gann came on, and then later Alex Young, and I think they combined for 2 1/3 innings of scoreless relief. And then Taylor Clark worked a scoreless 9th inning. He struck out Nick Vilter to end it. Clark had an amazing season in his first year as a pro. I think 23 innings, including the postseason, gave up like 10 hits, maybe 5 walks, 30 strikeouts. Didn't allow a run, earned or otherwise, all season long. Clark was amazing during that season. Didn't get much of a chance to pitch. I think he worked 23 innings, but he didn't allow a run, earned or otherwise, regular season or postseason. He was incredible, wasn't he?
I was about the luckiest manager in baseball in terms of who I had available in the bullpen. I had 4 closers. I had Brody Greer, Cameron Gann, Alex Young, and Taylor Clark, and it was almost like a rotation every single night. And that day I had it set up where we had Brody Greer available to throw 1 inning, and if I had to, he was available to throw the 5th. Cameron Gann was available to go 2 innings that day. Had it scheduled for him to go 5, 6 if needed, and then we had Alex Young and Taylor Clark to finish off the game, the 8th and the 9th. Clark was lights out. He was our go-to closer that day. And all we needed Hernandez to do for us was really get us to the 5th inning. And I felt like it was lights out baseball from there, and he did. And Taylor Clark, he was probably the most dominant shutdown 9th inning guy in the league that year.
Yep. What a pitching staff that was. You said it. Going back earlier in that game, top of the 2nd inning, you mentioned the 4 spot. That was huge. Nate Robertson had won a championship in 2014. There he is again in 2015, coming up with big hit after big hit. He had a 2-run double that really turned that game around. What did he mean to that team?
He was huge, especially at third base. He was our little Gold Glove third baseman over there, and you know that's where he had the most value for us. He made every routine play. He made the great play, and towards the end of the year, his bat really started coming around, and he had that huge hit for us in the 2nd inning. And the thing I just loved about him was his feel for the game. He was a guy at second base. He had an amazing instinct on, you know, reading the pitcher's looks, being able to get a good jump and stealing third. He always was able to get good reads off the bat, run the bases very well, and just as an all-around baseball player, he was a lot of fun to have.
I'm going to throw a couple of names out to you besides the ones we've already talked about from that team. Sergio Alcantara.
Oh man, I miss him. He was awesome. He was talk about. I had at shortstop, I had Dansby Swanson, one of the best defensive shortstops in baseball to this day, the #1 pick in the draft. And then I had probably the best shortstop in the league is Sergio Alcantara, and we had to move him over to second base. And he had this light bat. He's this little skinny, unbelievably athletic shortstop. But talk about a player that is about as clutch as can possibly be. You saw the best Sergio Alcantara those last games of the season.
Yes.
And it was so much fun to see him out there. He made one of the off-foot foul ball that I've ever seen. He goes out there, gets 2 huge hits. He had 3 hits that game and had 2 huge hits, one in the second and one in the eighth. And he was our MVP that day.
Yes, he was. That diving catch that he made was off the charts. You brought up the next guy I was going to ask you about, the number 1 overall pick in the draft, the first number 1 overall pick to begin his career in the Northwest League since Ken Griffey Jr. in 1987. Dansby Swanson for the 2015 Hillsboro Hops. What did he mean to your team?
He was a leader right out of the chute. Once we had Dansby on there, it felt like I could just hand over a lot of the reins to him in terms of, controlling the attitude of that infield. He came from Vanderbilt. He played in the College World Series. He understood what it took to be a winning baseball player. His work ethic was contagious. How he went about the game was contagious. He was sick out there at defense. Offensively, when he got drafted, as he's getting ready to come to our season, he took a fastball to the face. It put him back a little bit, and it put his swing back a little bit. So we didn't see the best offensive Dansby Swanson, but we saw his athletic ability and his instincts and his ability to win. And, he brought that to our club. It was so much fun to watch him, and it was so much fun to be a part of having him on our team, leading us at the very end. And he came up a couple games before that. He came up with one of the biggest performances I've ever seen defensively and offensively that put us in the position to even be there in the first place. And we couldn't have done it without him. And it was so much fun to have the number 1 pick, but just him alone was so much fun.
Yeah, and of course he had the game-ending hit on September the 9th to knock out Salem Kaiser in the 13th inning. And then I think it was game 1 at home against Tri-City when he had this incredible tag on a attempted steal when the throw went up above his head. He jumped up and caught it, reached down and tagged the guy. It was just a great athlete.
Almost simultaneously. He was like midair, bending down, almost like a gymnast on that play.
Yeah. Yeah. In your time with the Blue Jays, have you been last year? Were there any interleague games between Toronto and Atlanta where you were able to see him? Have you seen him in a big league uniform?
I have, but I didn't get a chance to go talk to him. And, hopefully I will down the road. It was a special season, and I'll get that opportunity. We can rehash a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. What about another name, Josh Anderson?
Josh Anderson, that dude's a blue-collar grinder right there. That's the guy that'll do whatever it takes to win. And, Josh Anderson, he had this really short, compact swing. If anyone knew, he was I think he did some time doing some cage fighting. So this guy could take anything. And he's about like strong as an ox, real stocky, strong guy. Real short to the ball. He'd go out there, put together these at-bats where he just put his nose in the dirt and just do whatever it takes to just hit a line drive. And the second inning, he hit a double to right field that put us on the board right out of the chute. That gave us that momentum that we needed. The night before that, we were like it's like we were tight. We scored 2 runs in the first, but it's almost like we were scared to finish off Tri-Cities. We weren't really relaxed. We didn't go out there and get it. And that first double that Anderson hit to put us on the board, it was like, all right, thank you. Veras let it off with a single. Almeida got a walk, and then Anderson put us on the board with that double, and it was like, whew, now we can relax and we can go. And, he did that, and I won't forget that because it took somebody with a lot of strong character to go out there unafraid of that big moment and to go out there and to do something. And that was the perfect guy in the right spot to do it.
Yeah, it was. That was such a big moment because you guys had lost the previous day. And so you come in for this winner-take-all game. And hours before the game began, the previous day's starting pitcher, Cody Reed, he pitched well that day in a loss. So he comes in the next day and he was just tempting the baseball gods. He had gone to the grocery store and he brought in all these balloons, all these celebratory balloons, like, we're going to win the championship tonight. And here you go, guys. I'm prepared to celebrate when it's over. And I'm seeing him carrying these things in. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I mean, you're just tempting the baseball gods, but you guys won anyway. Do you remember seeing those and thinking, what's this all about?
Yeah, the night before, after that game we lost, we got together and we had a little talk. We had a little talk with the team, and we talked about the need to, when you have a team with their back against the wall, they're not just going to hand over to you a championship. You have to go out and earn it. You have to go get it. And we had jitters. We were tied a little bit, and we thought that the moment would just come to us, and it didn't. And we let everything out right there. And we also just kind of relaxed. I kind of let the guys go. I think a lot of guys went out that night and, had some cocktails. It was their last night together to kind of celebrate their whole season together. And, so they went out and they had some fun that night. And when they came to the ballpark that next day for the championship game, they knew that we're in a place where we're going to go out there, relax, and we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun and we're going to win it. And it was fun seeing them walk into the clubhouse that day, because you knew they had that attitude and I didn't need to do anything else. They handled it themselves. They had it. They had fun, and it was a really fun group to watch.
Yeah, it really was. And that celebration in the Tri-City Clubhouse was something else. And then lo and behold, 4 years later, the Hops are back in Tri-City winning another championship. So they've done that twice now. And by that point, you were back in the big leagues. And as I mentioned, as people know, you had been there as a player, and now back in the big leagues with the Toronto Blue Jays, and working as a liaison between the analytics department and the people down in the dugout. And you told me before the interview that in a way right now you're a translator. What do you mean?
It's a great opportunity to have right now. A lot of fun. It's, I'm working primarily in the front office with the front office members, the analytics department, and the major league coaching staff, and helping develop game strategy. And you could say translator. I'm helping the analytics department understand a lot of the stuff that goes on the dugout and on the field to put into their projection models and, system. And then I'm also helping the coaching staff and the manager put together game strategy and get the information that they need from the front office and the analytics department, and helping out with a lot of planning and strategy and, a lot of those things. And it's a new position that we all created together. It's going to be a lot of fun this year. And if there is this year, which we hope there will be, and something that I'm really excited to be a part of, because I'm seeing a whole different part of the game that I never have before. And I know it's going to help me out a lot in the long run.
Okay. Well, I hope that long run includes time in a big league dugout as a manager, Shelley. I think you'd be perfect for that role. And the Hops have an incredible heritage, and you're a big part of that, having managed us in 2015 and 2016 and to that championship back in September of 2015. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Those 2 years in 15 and 16 were one of the 2 best years of my life. And I can't tell you how special it is to be a part of the Hops history and to know you guys and be part of that family. And thank you for everything that you've done for me. And I always wish you guys the best of luck.